It is 10 o'clock, so I think we'll probably give a couple more minutes for folks to join in, but I guess I will start off by saying thank you so much for participating. Especially appreciate that this was a rather short turnaround from when it was announced, so we're glad to see folks joining in. My name is Karen Martwick. I'm the Senior Director of Content Strategy here at Travel Portland. So I lead our content team, and that the team is, well, you'll see, I'll let Paula explain it, because she has a whole slide about it. So I will put myself back on mute and hand it over to you, Paula.
Yeah, so welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning for our info session for Writing for Travel Portland. Like Karen said, she's our Senior Director of Content Strategy here at Travel Portland, part of our content team, with me as the content manager, who would be the main point of contact for our writers, and Carmen Paradise, who leads our social media and helps promote our content on organic and paid social. Another very important part of our team is the Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion team here at Travel Portland, which is comprised of Angela Nelson, who's our VP of it, and she helps execute our organizational EDI goals on a strategic level and within our content. And Kathleen Holt, who's the founder of Holt Strategies, helps guide our EDI initiatives within the Travel Portland content team on a consulting basis. And she really helped us with this process, and both were really essential in getting this opportunity out to you guys. So that's a little bit about our team.
Paula, I just wanted to interject. We're still seeing just your first slide.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me reshare. Is that working now?
Now that works, yes.
Okay. Sorry about that, everyone. So these are our faces. This is the content team. So myself, Karen, and Carmen, like I explained, and then Angela Nelson, our VP, and Kathleen Hall, our consultant for EDI initiatives within the content team. You might see them sometimes in our meetings if you become part of our writers team, and you'll likely meet them in person at some point if you become part of our writers team.
Angela is here right now.
And Angela is here. Thank you for joining us, Angela. So a little bit about what makes what we live on the content team is our Travel Portland content values. We stay accountable to these values, always learning and accountable by constantly educating ourselves and staying on top of what's most important in the EDI space, and holding ourselves accountable by implementing those practices in our content strategy. We endeavor to represent a diversity of stories and perspectives and voices. We endeavor to be welcoming, both to our writers, to our team, and to our visitors. We want to collaborate with our writers, so our content isn't just something that we're assigning to our writers or something that we're leading on our own. It's something that it's a project between us and the writers in our community. And we also want to create opportunities within our communities that we're representing, such as this one, as well as adding value to the interactions that we have with our writers. And that can mean anything from networking to providing like career advancement skills, and contacts, connections, etc. And these values have kind of a longer format, which are viewable on our website and are part of the kind of the application screen that you first see when you apply for the job. But this is a little bit of a refresher on what you might have already seen on the application page. So the opportunity for writing means that you'd be crafting copy that is original and well-researched. Each month you'll be pitching new content ideas, or we would be assigning you new assignments. You'd be submitting assignments in the requisite document format. A lot of people that have already applied have said that they're familiar with Word and with Word document and Google Doc. Those are things that we use every day, super familiar with that. And of course, tailoring your writing style to meet the needs of our audience and kind of learn about our editorial guidelines, which are pretty similar to AP style, nothing too crazy, nothing that you'd be super unfamiliar with. But we do have a few little things that we like to be particular about. And then of course, liaising with the staff to ensure that your content attracts maximum reader engagement, meaning, is it getting a lot of traction on organic web? Is it getting traction on social media? And how can we promote your content in a way that gets the most eyes on it? Because ultimately, while you would be producing content for us, we want to make sure that your content is being read and that people are enjoying it. And then, of course, the compensation. Everybody can still see these slides. Yes, good. So we think, this is a pretty fair compensation range for 800 to 1,200 words per article. You'd be assigned 1 article per month during the 3-month contract period, and then additional opportunities would be available depending on our budget and our editorial load for that month. So there's a chance that you could be writing 2 articles a month. And it's also up to you. So if you tell us, no, I'd like to stay at 1, that's totally fine. Creators who can supplement their stories with photos or videos would be receiving the upper range of that compensation. And this can look like, high definition images, short form video content for Instagram stories or reels, anything in that range that you'd be comfortable producing in addition to your written piece that would get you to the upper range of the compensation spectrum. And then in addition to all of that, completely separate from the compensation is we'd be fully covering any production expenses related to making the content piece happen. So you wouldn't have to spend any of your own money to make a piece of content happen. So say that you were covering a new restaurant that's opening and you want to try a pretty extensive part of the menu. We'd of course be willing to compensate for that so that it wouldn't have to come out of your own pocket. Or say you were going to a festival somewhere 15, 20 minutes away, we compensate you for that gas and we compensate you for the festival tickets. Those are a few examples. And these sort of things would be personalized within your contract. So anytime that you're pitching a story, we look at, okay, how much does it take and how much extra expenses could be incurred during the production of this piece, and we'd consider that into your contract for that piece. I also want to talk a little bit about our editorial process. So every month you'd attend a 1-hour monthly pitch meeting. This is mandatory. This is your opportunity to pitch new content ideas and kind of collaborate with us on what those might be. And then we would also assign new articles. Travel Portland has a bank of ideas that we want to get to that we've been excited to write about, but just haven't had the team to do it. So you could either pitch an idea and we could say yay or nay on it, or we could kind of pitch ideas to you and you could say, oh, I like that idea. I want to take it up and do it myself. And then every quarter, we'd have a 2-hour quarterly networking meeting. This is optional. It's an opportunity to network with us, the Travel Portland team, and other writers. This would be done in person, but there's a virtual option that could be provided, and lunch and refreshments would be provided. But it's a really great opportunity to network. And occasionally we'd be inviting maybe even members of our editorial advisory board or members of our community to speak on certain issues or to teach a new skill or to tell us about a new trend or something happening around town. So it's really an opportunity, even though it's optional, for you guys to learn from each other, for you guys to meet us and network and kind of get your name out there in the community, and get a bit more connection with our different community contacts. And of course, free lunch is always very good. I do want to say that the compensation for the 1 hour monthly pitch meetings is included in the compensation for your content. So even though you're not getting like a separate compensation for that 1 hour every month, you're getting it as part of your fee for the actual content. And any other communication that would happen around your content would happen over email. So say, you know, we're editing back and forth, you want some feedback or you need some help on your article, that would happen over email. And of course, you know, we're available during office hours for quick calls and all that. This is a quick rundown of the application timeline. So we announced on November 1st. Today we're having our info session. Tomorrow our application reviews begin. We've received a really good handful of applications so far. So we're really excited to review them. And if anyone is attending today that hasn't applied so far, we really encourage you to do so. And on a rolling basis, we'll be conducting 15-minute phone interviews with our top candidates. And this can be an opportunity for you guys to ask me questions, to get more information about specific details within the contract or any you know, hesitations you might have about the process, any clarifications you need, and also a chance for us to get to know you a little bit better. And then November 30th, the application period closes. And then December 15th, we'll be sending out offers and contracts to be signed, and the work begins January 2023. So that was a really quick rundown, but we want to leave a lot of time for questions. So I have answers. Does anybody have any questions so far?
There is one question in the chat from Lexi. She asks if the content producers provide photos and videos, are we expected to edit the content as well, or is providing raw content enough? Which is a really good question.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we've discussed that, so I think that would be individually, we would figure that out in the contracting process. But I mean, I think it would, my initial answer is it would probably lean more towards just the raw footage. Does that sound right to you, Paola?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's also a question about the timing of the monthly meeting, which is not preset. We will try and find a time that works for our final cohort as best as possible.
We have a small cohort of creators that help us with our social media content. And the way that monthly meetings goes for them is that our social media manager sends out an email, hey, what time works for everyone? And kind of we come to a consensus on a good time. So it's never going to be something that you have to go completely out of your way for. And if you miss it, there's definitely a chance for us to get back to you on an individual basis. So no worries about that.
Yeah, great. Are there any more questions? Oh, wait, I see one. Are writers considered independent contractors? So yes, these are independent contractor relationships. Would all content belong to Travel Portland as work for hire? That'll be nailed down in the contracting process. In general, I'm not sure if this is answering the question, but the writers will retain copyright of their content that they produce.
Mm-hmm. And if you guys haven't checked out some of our writers that already appear on our website, the writers do have a bio and a picture. They are able to provide a little bit of information about themselves, and sometimes even where they might have appeared before, where their writing might have appeared before. And I do want to point out that in our monthly writer meetings, that would also be a chance for writers to tell us about their recent successes even outside of Travel Portland. So say you appeared in a different magazine, or you won an award for your writing. It's an opportunity for you guys to share that stuff with us so that we can share it with the rest of the group and our own network and kind of sing your praises out to the world. So there's a lot of opportunity for exchange in that way as well.
I'm seeing a question from Kelly that I had missed earlier. Apologies for that. That she's not eating in public and for the foreseeable future. And she asked if that's a deal breaker. I would say no. I mean, food is one part of our coverage that we provide, but it's just one. So, most likely, I mean, if you came on board, you might choose to write about takeout options, but we're always going to focus on what's relevant for visitors. So takeout can work for visitors, but we might just ask you to write about other things like cultural events or shopping or whatever else.
Yeah, on the application, the job opportunity page, we have a few examples of the written work that we like to feature. So if you want to check that out, we certainly don't limit ourselves to food articles. So
great. Danielle asked which one of us gets the content at travelportland.com emails. We both do. That goes to the full content team. So as we saw earlier, that means it goes to myself, Paola, and Carmen, just so we have coverage there. And I think I may have responded to you, but if I didn't, we will get back to you today for sure. Patrick asks for the application, could you submit a short sample of writing versus or in addition to published work? I think that would be fine. Yeah.
Yeah, we have the option to submit a link to your work, whether that be published or a sample of writing, or you could upload a sample of writing as well. I think it's PDF format, but I'm not totally sure on that, but you can upload.
Great. Any more questions?
When I was practicing my presentation, a friend who was so kindly listening to me asked me about what would the kind of pitching process be. So if that's something that you're wondering about, I'll go ahead and say that during the monthly pitch meetings, it's going to be a conversation between both of us. So you might pitch some ideas that you really like. There might be ideas that take longer than a month to produce. So that's also an opportunity for you guys to speak up about that and say, hey, I have this really good idea, but it's going to take 2 months, 3 months to produce. That would be, a negotiation between us and just logistically figuring out how that would work. There's not an idea that I think I would just say no to right off the bat. And then if you don't have any ideas that month, we have a bank of ideas that we would love to assign to you. So there's going to be plenty of opportunity to work with us, regardless of how big or small the ideas are.
I would just add that we won't really ever be asking writers to pitch blind. We will give you some good foundational, in addition to sort of the information that we've already published with the application, we will let you know, sort of like Paola said, we kind of have a running list of potential story ideas, opportunities. We'll also give you more foundation in sort of what Travel Portland is all about. Like I mentioned, food, we do consider that sort of one of our pillars. What are the other pillars? And so we'll give you lots of background. We really want to set people up for success, like Paola said, so that we can say yes to your ideas, but also help you understand what ideas are going to be successful for this audience. Sherry asks if audio only interviews would be acceptable as an additional media component to an article pitch. I would say, yeah, for sure. That's actually a great idea. We are undertaking or sort of expanding our EDI work at Travel Portland to be more focused or include a focus on accessibility. And actually, when we built our website in 2019, we did build it with this ability to embed audio, which we've never used, but we were like, someday that might be a cool thing to do. So yeah, I think that would definitely be great. Kelly asks, what's the typical turnaround time for a piece after it's assigned? Well, this is probably a good time to say, everyone who starts along with us will be sort of in the inaugural class of, of us doing it this way. So I think, I mean, we're generally, you know, talking about doing a monthly meeting. So, you know, if we met in January, you would deliver the content in February. So, you know, maybe 4 to 6 weeks. I don't, but like Paula said, we're also open to, you know, if in that January meeting, you're like, I am really excited about Portland Jazz Festival, that's what I want to write about in February, then we would adjust the timing accordingly. So I think that's kind of a wishy-washy answer. I don't know, Paula, do you have a better answer?
Yeah, well, I don't have a better answer, but I can say that I think having been a freelancer myself, there's a lot of you know, just like fear that the editing process will take forever. And then, you know, once your editor gets back to you, you've already forgotten what the idea even was, you know, your research is in the back of your head. And I want you to know that the majority of my job responsibilities do revolve around this writers program. So if I'm ever doing that, it means something terrible happened. Like I'm not here. I was abducted by aliens, and I'm not doing my job. But I do want to say that if that's something that you're concerned about, I want to get back to you with that. It's as soon as possible. I want the editing rounds to be as short as possible, because I also don't want to be hammering you for edits over and over again. That's something that Karen does with me in my work when I'm producing content for the website, and I hope to do the same with you guys.
Yeah, and I would also say just sort of like we've said about the contract, it'll be a collaborative process. We'll figure it out, and we'll also be very clear and transparent with you. So there won't be a surprise deadline or anything like that. You will know going in with every assignment what the expectations are. Patrick asks about the target audience. Is it just travelers in general, or families coming to visit, young people thinking of moving here, or all of the above? It's the first two. So really, so Travel Portland's mission is to drive economic benefit for Portland and the Portland region as through tourism, so through overnight stays. And so really it's about encouraging, inspiring people to visit the city. And of course, under the umbrella of visitors, you can sort of segment that market, like you said, like it's people, travelers in general, it's people with kids, it's, you know, people with different abilities, people of different backgrounds. So, you know, it's all of those things above. And then it's also another part of our work is supporting the meetings and conventions, so booking those into hotels and the convention center in the city. And so that's sort of an ancillary or secondary audience of ours, is people who attend conventions in the city who really are they're travelers too. They're choosing to travel here, and hopefully they're getting to have some fun, and some of the great storytelling that we can do about the city will also encourage them to, first of all, come to that conference in Portland, and also hopefully extend their stay. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This is really, I mean, we do produce content for some of our other sort of business to business audiences, like the meeting planners who make the decision of where a convention is held. But for this work and these contracts will be about attracting what we call consumer travelers. So just folks like us who have choices about where they want to spend their vacations. Yeah. And let's see, can we submit multiple pitches, music related, lifestyle, for example, or is each hired writer expected to stick with a specific topic area? No, it's definitely the former. We want you to tell the stories that you're excited about. We want you to tell us stories that we don't know yet. That's a really big piece of why we want new and diverse writers contributing, because Portland's a big city with a lot going on, and no one person or one set of people or one content team can fully have our eyes on everything that's happening. So no, whatever you're interested in. And I would say, you know, I mean, there's sort of some kind of traditional or obvious things, like obviously the art museum or the zoo or whatever are attractions that visitors go to, but we're definitely open to, like, well, what do you take your friends to do when they come to visit the city? Or what is a new thing that you're excited about that you haven't seen anybody talk about, or you've seen superficial coverage of it, but you want to go deeper, or any of those things. So no, definitely we don't want to sort of, I mean, I know some publications do a sort of assign beats. That's not really what we're looking to do. We will be looking, as we do the assignments, we'll look at the overall mix. And, you know, if everybody came in one month and pitched only dining or only food stuff, we might say, what's your next idea? You know, so yeah. Anything to add on that, Paola?
No, I think, well, also, you know, the fact that our writers kind of serve as our like eyes and ears on the ground, because like Karen said, we can't be everywhere knowing everything all at once. You know, small movie reference there. But I think, you know, one of the best recent experiences I had was, you know, writing a piece for Travel Portland, and then going to the places that I featured in the piece and hearing from the people themselves, like what other ideas they have and what other things that Travel Portland could feature. So it's not just you guys providing us your own original ideas, it's you collaborating with the community and connecting with your friends and neighbors and the businesses and attractions that you love, and seeing what stories are they wanting to tell and what can you lift up in your work.
That's a really great point. We are coming up, we have a couple minutes left, so we may have time for like one more question. I also just want to say that as a follow-up, so we are recording this, we will post a link to this recording. We also are going to type up as sort of an FAQ based on the questions that were asked here. If you have any additional questions that occur to you afterwards, please, you can just email them to us at content@travelportland.com. And we will, as quickly as we can, we will address those and also post the answers on our website. Great. I think we're winding down. Any last questions? Oh, well, thank you all. It's very exciting that so many of you were able to join. Really happy to see you. And yeah, we're very excited about this process, and excited to get on board. The response has been really good so far. A nice, like a robust response, but not so much that we are completely overwhelmed. Makes me happy. So great. Yeah, if you haven't applied yet, please do. And one last thing I want to shout out is, when you do apply, in the sort of thank you email, there's a link to take an anonymous demographic survey. And if you haven't done that already, when you responded, or when you applied, please go back and find that in your email. We would love to capture that information. It's totally anonymous and optional, but it really will help us sort of hold ourselves accountable to our goals and making sure that we are reaching a diverse pool of applicants. So yeah, anything else, Paola?
No, just thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me this morning. And like Karen said, if you have any lingering questions, feel free to contact us at content@travelportland.com. Yeah, excited to see your applications.
Great. Thank you all.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.